In today's video, I'm going to be explaining how I made my first $2,000 selling beats online. And before we get started, this is the start of my second channel. I'll put the link in the description to my normal channel down below. So if you could drop a like, drop a subscribe on this video, it would really help me out. And go and check out my first channel. Go and show some love to some of the beats on there. So let's get to it. Hey, here we go. So, for those that don't know me, well, let's face it, most of you probably don't. My name is Dave. I go under the name of Davey and I've been making beats, selling beats for just over a year now. And I'd like to explain the process of how I went from $0 to $2,000 in that period of time. The reason for me doing it is because at this stage last year, I felt like I was watching all these videos on YouTube and trying to understand how I could sell my first beat and yada yada yada, and every video kind of just glossed over the same couple things but didn't actually go into detail of how you go from being a beat maker to actually making money from selling beats. So making beats is one thing, but selling beats is a whole different kettle of fish. Is that quote? Kettle of fish, that's what I'm going with. It's a different ball game. So enough waffling, let's get into it. My first point, quality beats. So I've been making beats, I'm 24 now, so I've been making beats for 10 years, like properly. I know you'll get some people that be like, oh, I made beats for 20 years and my dad gave me a laptop when I was 3. And like properly, I've been making beats for about 10 years. And I went on a little hiatus as I was in uni and I had other things going on, but that's a different story. But the reason for me saying that is because a lot of people will jump on YouTube and they get the idea, yeah, I'm gonna make beats, and they buy all of this gear and they do all of this stuff, and then it's sort of like, you've got to learn your craft, at least learn the basics before you can get to a stage where you're able to put something out that is of adequate quality to sell, because you've got to remember that you're selling a product, and you hear the quality of music that is out there now and how good everything is, that if your beat is average or even good, let's say, it's got to be top notch to be able to sell your music now. So my only word of advice would be, music game is a long game. You got to commit to it. I've only been in it for 5 or 6 years, let's say, and I'm only starting to now see the benefits of like money and a bit more recognition, and my numbers sort of going up a bit more, and that's taken a lot of work and a lot of sacrifice to get to that point. So what I'm trying to say is, perfect what you're doing before you go out and start selling stuff, because if you go online and you make your first beat, you're gonna think that beat's wicked, yeah, but sorry, that beat is not gonna be good. It might be good to you as somebody who's never made a beat before, but it's not gonna be good to the buyer, and they're the people that you're trying to please. So make loads of beats, make hundreds of beats, make thousands of beats, and go through the process of making, mixing, mastering out a beat, doing the whole process, and do it 100 times, do it 200 times, 250 times. I probably made close to 500 beats before I dropped my first one. And that definitely helped me. When you start to build relationships and when you start to get a bigger customer base, they're going to start flicking through your catalogue, and if everything at the bottom of your catalogue is like rubbish, then it's going to kind of bring down your quality of product, regardless of whether your newest stuff are the best beats in the world. If they hear that your old beats were like proper bad, then it kind of just like takes you down a couple of notches, in my opinion anyway. So I don't know, I like to think that even if I was to listen back to my beats from a couple of years ago, I would still be like, but they would still be sort of okay, is what I'm trying to say. So my next point, number 2, will be building relationships. Building relationships is something that's so important, and before I delve into it too much, I think it's important to say that when you're selling beats, you can't just make good beats anymore. You've got to have so many different strings to your bow. So you've got to know marketing, you've got to know obviously making music, you've got to have a good sense of presentation, you've got to be good at social skills and speaking to people. Like, the list can go on for ages, but building up relationships and being good with people is so important. So I did like a lot of sales in 9-to-5s before I sort of did this more full time, and that's definitely come into play in terms of actually pushing a beat sale over the line. People think who don't sell beats, who want to do it, that you just upload these beats and then all of a sudden you'll get all these notifications, bing, 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 you're selling beats left, right and center. It don't really work like that, unfortunately. It can work like that, but it won't work like that straight away. So until you've built up that reputation, you built up those numbers where you can, like I always say that Drake could fart into a microphone and release it and it would get 10 million streams overnight, do you know what I mean? Until you're at sort of that kind of stage where you can do anything and somebody will jump on it and somebody will buy it because they're buying your name rather than the product that you're making, then you've got to be good at pleasing people and speaking to people and reassuring people that what they're buying is the best quality product that they can buy. The most cliche one that there is, but consistency. It's annoying, but you've got to put stuff out all the time. And to a schedule, I've only recently just got back into the habit of trying to get something out every day. And every day that you've got a free day, you shouldn't just be making one day's worth of content. You should be trying to do 2, 3, 4, get as many beats done as you can, and schedule them all out so that you're uploading at the same time every day. Like, there's so many people making beats now that, not to say that the market is congested because that's more of an excuse, but you've got to be at the top of your game all the time. It's like if you're a pro footballer or a pro athlete or something like that, you've got to be in that top 1%, that top 0.5% to really start seeing benefits where you can sort of look at leaving your job and earning proper money kind of thing. So consistency is not key, but quality and consistency will give you the leg up that you need to sort of take it to the next level. Like, it's the foundations, if you know what I mean. Number 4, targeting a market. You've got to think of selling beats as a business, yeah? Anything where you're making money, if you don't think of it in a business sense, then you're missing out on so much and you're not gonna reap the benefits that you could do. So you've got to put your business mind on. And what I mean by targeting your market is yes, there are loads of rappers out there, and yes, I see, for example, if you're making type beats, I see people that have dropped type beats to albums that have just come out so that they get more interaction on YouTube, which is brilliant. Fair play to you if you can do that and you're versatile and stuff like that. But in my opinion, if one day I'm making a Joey Badass type beat, and then the next day I'm making like that new housey Drake stuff, and then the next day I'm making drill, and you've got no consistency. Again, it goes back to consistency. And I think that, so I sort of do more like soul-y, jazzy, boom bap kind of stuff, and I know that once I've built up those relationships that I was speaking about earlier, that the stuff that I'm going to be putting out, I know that somebody's going to jump on it. I know that somebody will like it at some point, because, not to say that I'm releasing the same stuff all the time, but you could put it all under one subheading, and that is so important in terms of like consistency, getting them sales in, all of that stuff. So yeah, target your market, focus on what it is that you want to focus on, and stick to it. Like, at first I was making all these different kind of beats, and sometimes I'd be doing like 808s and heavy saw synths and all of this mad stuff, and then I'd do like a lo-fi, like Maverick piano, sort of 90 BPM kind of stuff, and it just doesn't, it doesn't sit with anybody. Like, yeah, you might get a couple of sales out of it, but at the end of it, you want your beats to be constantly selling over a long period of time. And by doing the same amount, the same style of music over and over and over and over again, that will definitely sort of help you out in the long haul, without a doubt. Number 5, deals, discounts, promo. A lot of people, I was like this as well, but a lot of people, you don't want to undersell yourself. Like, I see people that do, like, this is the biggest wind up for me, but when they do buy one, get 50 beats free, like, don't do stuff like that, because you're underselling yourself. Like, if I said to you, don't know, like you wanted to buy a camera, yeah? I've got a camera, it's 500 quid, and I say to you, you can have it for a tenner. Then you're gonna go, well, why is it a tenner? What's wrong with it? Do you know what I mean? So you've got to find that balance between selling things at a good rate, but not too expensive and not too cheap. Like that's something that you have to figure out with time. But for example, like I would sell an MP3 for $29.95. And I see a lot of people sell for a lot more than that, and I see a lot of people trying to sell for $10. And I bet you the people that sort of go towards the top end of that will be making more sales, because if, like I said earlier, if you're selling for something for a tenner, then people are going to look at it and go, what's wrong with that? Not, wow, this is only £10. So find a balance with it. Deals and discounts are so important, because it's better to get a sale in than to not get it at all. And I appreciate that it's probably contradictory to what I just said, but if you've got someone in and ahhing, but they're interested and they don't want to pay like 79 quid for a stems lease or something, give it to them for 50, especially if it's their first time, because they'll see that you put the effort in to make them happy. You've got yourself a customer, you've still got 50 quid. Yeah, you could have got 79 quid or whatever you got it set to, but everyone's a winner there. And if that person comes back, then you're the biggest winner there. If that person becomes a returning customer, then you've gained somebody who will be putting 50 quid in your pocket every 2 months, or whenever their release schedule is, every 6 weeks or something like that. So yeah, deals, discounts, 2 for 1 is what I do with my beats. Buy 2, get 1 free. And the reason why I do that is because yes, I might be giving away 1 for free, but if somebody is only interested in 1, then they might look at it and go, well, if I get another, then I'm getting a third for free. So that's what buy 2, get 1 free is, obviously, but you've got to think of it from the consumer's point of view, that you're trying to egg them on to get as many as possible. And yeah, if you take a 50% cut on 2 beats, or you're giving away 1 for free, in the beats game, you've got unlimited amount of that product. It's not like you're buying 10 oranges and you're selling them all off individually, and once they're gone, they're gone. If you don't sell that beat exclusively, you can sell that 1,000,000 times. So if you have to give 1 away for free to get a sale out of someone, do it, bruv, do it. Because that's where the money is, and that's where returning customers are so important. So get those people in, get those sales over the line, and yes, you might have lost out on a bit in the short term, but in the long term, you're gonna be laughing. I've got my little book, sorry. Right, number 6, revenue streams. So there are obviously many different revenue streams. I'm not gonna go into this in too much detail now. I'll probably make a separate video for it. But in terms of revenue, there's so many different ways than just selling beats. Like what I said earlier, you've gotta have different strings to your bow. So this year I've made money from selling beats, selling drum kits, selling loop packs, doing collabs. It's like collabs if you give a loop to somebody if you give a loop to somebody else who is also a producer, or you get featured on a placement or something like that, then you're going to be taking 50% of whatever they make on it. So that's what collabs means. And what else have I made money on? Vocal mixing. Vocal mixing is a good one. That's another one that I also would put into the deals and discounts category that I was talking about earlier. So for example, I'm sure he won't mind me telling you this, but my most recent, one of my most recent sales was with a guy called Mike Wells, who is a brilliant artist. And I gave him a beat for free and then charged him for the vocal mixing because he wanted the whole package done. So he jumped on a beat of mine, I mixed the vocals, I got paid for the vocal mixing but gave the beat away for free. I gained a good customer who will probably end up coming back to me because the product sounded so good. He's overly happy because he's got a really good deal. Do you see what I mean? Like, all comes together. So use your brain a little bit. Don't sweat over 20 quid. Like, get those things over the line. That's important. And something that I haven't delved into too much is stuff like you can get ad revenue from YouTube from doing tutorials and whatever this is and stuff like this. And Spotify. For me, Spotify is something that I will look into in the future, but especially if you're just starting, don't try and attempt to do all these things at once because you're just going to get overwhelmed and it's going to be too time consuming. So stick to one, make it work, add another, start with just selling beats. Once you sold your first beats, make a drum kit. Once you've gained 1,000 followers on Instagram, start giving out collabs, sending loops to people. And then if you can make 100 quid from each of these streams every month, then you've got 5, 6, 7, 8 of them, then 800 quid a month guaranteed on top of what else you would make in terms of selling and extras and all of that jazz. So again, don't do all that at once, it's too much, but do them one by one. Start them, look into it, see what works for you, depending on what kind of music you're making. So if you're making lo-fi, there's people making stacks on Spotify on like them chilled, like revision playlist things, like lo-fi revision beats and all that stuff. And like I see some guy on there the other day, he got like 17 million plays on just a lo-fi instrumental, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you get like $3 per 1,000 streams on Spotify. So like, if you're getting 16 million, like, I'm not gonna do the maths now, but that's quite a bit of bank. So yeah, depending on what you're doing, explore different avenues. And finally, managing your socials. Socials are so important. Again, don't just, if you're deciding to do this and you think you're at a stage where you're ready to sell beats and go out and you're ready to sort of take on the world and show the world your music, brilliant, but start Instagram and YouTube. Get the ball rolling in those. Like, I don't even bother with Twitter or anything like that, because it's just, you've got to decide what's worth your time and what isn't worth your time. Realistically, probably Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, maybe Twitter, I don't know, but those three are the main three in terms of people using the apps and people that you're trying to target actually interacting with you on those apps. So don't make like, I don't know, like a LinkedIn and a Bebo and an MSN or whatever else is out there. Don't just start with all of them and try and upload all your things to every single one and expect to see results, because it ain't gonna work like that. Or another one is SoundCloud. SoundCloud can be very good if you know how to manage it. I personally don't put all my stuff out on SoundCloud, but I've got a reason for that. But again, I'll go into that for another video. So yeah, there you go. That's how I made my first $0 to $2,000. I put it in the thumbnail, but I'll put it up again somewhere over here. The numbers and stuff that I've done from the last sort of 6 months. But yeah, if you can keep on top of it and appreciate that music is a long game, and you just concentrate on making the best music that you can and learning how to market, learning how to speak to people well, doing all of that stuff, there's definitely possibilities that can be explored within making beats. But as I said, I'm 24 now. I'm hoping in the next 2 years I'll have packed up my job full time. I'm only doing a couple of shifts a week at the moment instead of doing 5 days. I was doing 6 days, 9 to 5, and juggling this on top. I've now more than halved that. So I'm getting there. If I can get there, anyone can get there. So yeah, if you're still here, appreciate you sticking around. I'm going to be doing more videos like this. I'll put my my beat channel in the description, as I always will. I'll put all my socials somewhere around the screen or whatever. So yeah, follow me on Instagram, drop me a little subscribe on here, and I'm sure I'll bring you plenty more of these. Nice one.